one of our strategies, of course, for Groton is we know that there's not going to be some big corporation that's going to move a plant to Groton when we're competing with the South, maybe with their lower energy and lower labor costs. But what we can do is start our own and grow our own through innovation and incubation. And that's kind of the theme we thought of when we thought of Hannah to speak with us. So a little bit about Hannah. She's what's called a civic entrepreneur. Before moving to New London 4 years ago, she started a number of small businesses, earned her MBA in sustainable systems, which I like that word, sustainable systems. Spent 2 years initiating the Spark Makerspace in New London. It's a community-run workshop and learning center. It makes it easy for people to work on their own projects, learn and teach, or support local organizations. But most importantly, I think, is that she shares the leadership of the Thames River Innovation Place initiative. And we've made it through several milestones thus far, and we're competing with some other regions within Connecticut. I think the first round of funding is around $6 million to spark new innovation and businesses here. So, Hannah, if you could, tell us about that.
Thank you so much for having me present here this morning to talk about local business development, incubation, and innovation in southeastern Connecticut. As Al mentioned, I moved down to this area about 4 years ago. I'm from the Seattle-Tacoma area, and I choose to live in southeastern Connecticut because it's wonderful. I love the quality of life here, I love the people here, and I love the opportunity here. And so a few years ago, I began working in community after kind of a history of starting some of my own businesses and recognizing that through the MBA program, what I really wanted to do was help other people start businesses and businesses that have kind of a civic bent to them to really improve community and kind of build community engagement in doing very responsible business development. And so Spark Makerspace is in downtown New London with a couple of locations that are, we actually redeveloped the old L&G nightclub, if people are familiar with that, with a wood shop, and there's a commercial kitchen, and there's 3D printing, and all sorts of art spaces, screen printing, printmaking, there's welding outside, and there's also co-working, so shared office space, meeting space, and also retail storefront. So this is membership-based. Anybody can become a member. $55 a month for regular members, $30 a month for working members, and then those members have open access to come and go as you please. So we've got people showing up. Some of them just want to work on a class, on a project, or take a class. Many other people are starting businesses or supporting themselves to be able to do that through providing, accessing all of these resources at a very affordable rate and networking with other people, because part of the concept with Spark is to really spark community, spark collaboration, and make it very accessible to kind of like, and really lower the barriers for people to make things happen. So in my capacity, helping to get Spark started, have become part of the CT Next Partner Network. So this is a program through the State Department of Economic and Community Development that in the last year initiated this Innovation Places program, which Al mentioned. So there's about $30 million a year for the next 5 years that a limited number of innovation places will be eligible to receive. And so since last year, I've stepped into leadership with in my capacity with Spark, with the Cure Innovation Commons in Groton. And so if people are not yet familiar with the Innovation Commons, I'm going to point out Kim Kelly and have her raise her hand. So Kim is the incubator director at the Commons, which is building that was part of the Pfizer community and has been redeveloped with a lot of DECD support as just a phenomenal co-working and shared lab space. So the Commons and Spark are really kind of these like sister incubator spaces in southeastern Connecticut. So I think you know, what's happening with the innovation places is really going to elevate groundwork that has been happening over the last, you know, couple of years to really create a more fertile ground for people in this area to start their own businesses. And so the Cure Innovation Commons has lab space for drug discovery and people to be able to kind of prototype in that very specialized environment, supporting bioscience and technology, business development and incubation. The Commons also offers some pro bono services to businesses that are getting started up, and has a Thirsty Thursdays once a month for business networking. And the Spark Makerspace community hosts entrepreneurship meetup on Tuesday nights in our co-working space. So this is an example, or kind of what I want to kind of introduce is these two sites as really laying the groundwork for supporting more residents to start their own businesses and be successful and access resources to really kind of like ignite the entrepreneurial ecosystem and also provide resources for existing small businesses. So our work together has really been catalyzed by this Innovation Places opportunity. So as I mentioned, the state has set aside $30 million a year, and our community competed for a planning grant in September. And so really phenomenal collaboration between the City of New London, the City of Groton, Town of Groton, and other anchor institutions. So Electric Boat and Pfizer have been engaged, and Connecticut College, UConn, Avery Point, the school systems have come together, and all of those municipalities each gave $5,000 to help us get a planning grant last fall. And that enabled us to work until April, doing a planning process to put in our candidacy for this Innovation Places designation. And so the state is now reviewing that strategic plan and a number of kind of catalytic projects, and we'll be hearing back from them the beginning of June whether or not we get that designation. And so part of what we expect is that, and there's, you know, I think 12 places applied for that designation, and 7 places were selected for a site visit. And so we actually had the state come down last Friday, not even a week ago, to the Commons for a presentation, and then we took the water taxi over after walking Thames Street here in Groton, walked around New London and ended at Spark, and kind of, you know, made our pitch to the state, answered some questions about those projects. And so we're feeling confident about our ability to get that designation, but not totally sure at what level of support the funding will come in for the various projects. And so at this time, we're looking for really a demonstration of local support for that work, which will be pretty much a one-to-one match is what the state is looking for in terms of funding to kind of like double the dollars that we can bring in. And so to kind of introduce the projects, which I think is part of what's, you know, really of interest, we have, of course, are asking for a little bit of administrative support to continue to have the Thames River Innovation Places group have strong leadership and become a sustainable institution. It was myself and Susan Froschauer from the Cure Innovation Commons, who's the president of Cure, have really been kind of like leading that, but there needs to be, I think, a strong leader. But one of the real kind of hallmark foundational projects is something that we're calling the Community Concierge. And the Concierge is a program that is meant to really help new people moving into the area, new hires with, electric boat, bringing on 14,000 people in the coming years. We really want to kind of, and the state's objective is to kind of attract and retain talent. And so the Concierge is designed to receive people and get them more quickly embedded in the social fabric of our community, and not just the new hires, but also their spouses and their family members. And this is something that will connect to the Thames River Heritage Park and introduce people to all of the wonderful quality of life kind of assets that we enjoy here, that if you're first moving here, getting a quick introduction to them could really enrich your life and help people to kind of become rooted so that this is a place that they want to stay. And that influx of people coming into the area, not all of them are going to be hired locally. We want them to stay here. We want them to continue to work here, to be happy here, potentially to start businesses here. And so on that business development side, there's also a project that we're calling Ignite, which is putting on more events that are make-a-thons, startup weekends, bring people together to connect, ideation, start businesses, and then also have some educational programming that might be like a business accelerator and a coding boot camp, right? So we need to recognizing that we really want to do more to help bring people together and educate them and make those access points kind of richer. Another project is the Underwater Sea Consortium, and I'm going to ask Paige and Sam to kind of raise their hands. Both from the town of Groton and have been working with UConn Avery Point and Micah Corsi from the School of Engineering to set up a consortium that really helps grow the local supply chain, business development around some of the opportunities to really leverage a core competency in terms of underwater sea technology. And so another project is the Cultivator Kitchen. This is kind of a growth of Spark Makerspace, in which part of how Spark is going to be doing business incubation is through class-like programs, people starting a business with somebody who has real expertise in that area. So it's kind of an apprenticeship model. Instead of working on your own project to help that get developed and launch, we're starting to do something in the restaurant space to have people take kind of like start a restaurant class, where you actually start a restaurant with Robert Ramsey from the Montauk House Cafe in downtown New London, and that could result in a commissary kitchen that could be doing a lot of business development around that food space, because part of the higher objectives that we really identified through the Thames River Innovation Places was, well, number one, to collaborate, that we're just too small as independent actors to be successful on our own. The real power happens when we work together, and that's part of what is so wonderful about New London and Groton coming together through the Thames River Innovation Places, that it really helps to kind of leverage who we are together and network that to make phenomenal things happen. And we're going to do that through, placemaking efforts. So one of the projects is a redevelopment placemaking that's putting some investment in Thames Street to get it ready for private investment. So we're asking for a market analysis to support that, and connectivity to Hodges Square in New London, in the Gold Star Bridge, the multimodal pathway, how that can be improved. So in addition to placemaking, there's human capital development, and kind of heard a little bit about that through the Ignite program and what's happening with the Cultivator Kitchen. And then also just supporting innovation broadly, the innovation ecosystem. So finally, I think just to kind of to close, I think part of what I want to inspire us all to think about is that the state's Innovation Places opportunity is just where this starts. A month from now, if we achieve that designation, we won't just have that and some support from the state, but we will, we already have now a strategic plan together and a strong kind of working group that is New London and Groton together, working in kind of unprecedented ways across sector, and there's just huge opportunity for us to be strategic together. And so can I just get a show of hands of everybody who's involved? So for anybody who is curious to learn more, it was, so Paige, Kim, and Sam. Great. So thank you all so much for the opportunity to introduce.